The sky above the city was painfully clear, like a sheet of glass pouring light directly onto the heads of passers-by. Emma walked as if moving through a tunnel of air, hearing only distant echoes of the bustling streets and seeing faces blurred into meaningless outlines. She worked as a secretary in a small company, living alone in a modest apartment. But for weeks she had felt something unusual stalking her steps, something shapeless, yet heavy pressing around her like a shadow that didn't belong. One morning that seemed ordinary from afar, she entered her office, tossed her bag onto the desk, and began organizing papers. But then she froze. Something was out of place. A small rectangular photo lying on the edge of her glass desk. A simple black frame, dull glass, and the image of a woman she didn't know. Emma leaned closer, studying the unfamiliar face. It felt oddly familiar, as if she had seen it in a dream or a hazy memory she couldn't recall. Strangest of all, she was certain the photo had not been there yesterday. She pushed it aside, determined to ignore it. Yet the next day, it was there again, in the exact same spot, in the exact same angle, as if someone had carefully replaced it every night. Over time, she began to notice the woman's eyes in the photo moving slightly. Just a subtle tilt, barely perceptible, enough to make her doubt her own senses. But illusions don't repeat so consistently every day. Emma would wake in the middle of the night to a piercing light that cut through her eyelids like it came from a screen left on. Stepping into the living room, she would see the faint glow on the table where the photo rested, as if the light itself emanated from within the frame. Then the faint sounds started. First, the rustling of papers, then soft scratches, then footsteps only audible when the entire city was silent. She called out in trembling whispers, "Who's there?" And only her echo replied. She asked her neighbors. One, an elderly woman living below her, said she had seen a woman standing at Emma's door for a few seconds, resembling the woman in the photo, though the light was dim, so she wasn't entirely sure. That's when anxiety turned into fear, fear into terror, a terror with the metallic taste of inevitability. One night, Emma woke to that irritating glow. She stepped into the room and saw the photo on the desk. But the frame was wet, as if someone had held it with soaked hands. Inside, the woman's expression had changed. She was smiling, a smile that had never been there before. Emma's hands trembled as she lifted the frame, determined to throw it away. Opening the door, she froze. At the end of the corridor stood the woman herself. The same hair, the same dark dress, the same piercing gaze. But her face was featureless, mere outlines, shrouded in mist that formed the shape of a human only when it moved. Emma slammed the door, leaning her back against it. Her heart pounded like drums in a storm, her chest rising and falling violently as if trying to escape before her. The next day, attempting to go about her routine, she found the photo back on her desk. But this time, the woman's face had grown closer, larger, her eyes staring straight into the lens, as though inching forward day by day, attempting to leave the frame. Emma searched for answers, asked questions, and investigated until she discovered an old building on the outskirts of the city where the woman had once lived before vanishing years ago. Driven by a mixture of fear and curiosity, she entered the long corridor, wide at first, then narrowing as if the walls themselves sought to swallow each step. At the end, in the damp darkness, the photo hung on the wall, appearing as part of the very fabric of the building. But then she noticed something she hadn't seen before. The photo wasn't printed. It was a tiny window, a window into another room glowing with harsh white light. She reached out and touched the glass. It was cold enough to sting, and suddenly the light burst forth, the wall transforming into an endless expanse, the corridor itself pulling her inward. She had no time to retreat. A single voice whispered close to her ear, long and low, as though emanating from the building itself. "Come, it's your turn." And Emma vanished into the light. Silence returned. The desk remained, the frame remained, the photo remained, but this time the unfamiliar woman was gone. It was Emma herself. Her eyes glowed with an unnatural light, waiting for the next person to pass by. The photo sat untouched in her office, yet at night, the employees noticed something no one dared speak aloud. Emma's image moved slightly, a shoulder tilting, a head turning, as if observing whoever entered the floor. Then one day, a female employee disappeared, leaving her bag and phone behind. Some said she had resigned suddenly, but a man from accounting swore he had seen the employee's shadow standing behind Emma in the photo, even though she hadn't been there before. Rumors spread. Some said the office was haunted. Others whispered that Emma had returned, changed. The background in the frame seemed to grow deeper each day, expanding, swallowing everything around it. One autumn night, the security guard came to lock the floor. He noticed a faint white light emanating from Emma's desk. He approached cautiously. The photo alone remained on the desk, the frame trembling slightly as though breathing. He reached out to touch the glass, and the coldness shocked him. Then he heard the same whisper Emma had heard. "Your turn." The keys fell from his hands. He tried to flee, but before he could reach the door, the light went out. His voice was gone. In the morning, he was never found. The photo, however, now contained more than one face. In the lower right corner, the shadow of the security guard appeared, his head turned outward, as if trying to escape the frame. Since that day, the office remained abandoned. No one dared approach, no one dared touch the photo, but anyone passing the corridor at night swears they see something moving inside the frame. And Emma's eyes are no longer merely waiting, they are searching.